Hello, welcome to DC Velocity's Thought Leadership Series, produced in conjunction with MHI. My name is Mark Solomon. I'm a senior editor at DC Velocity magazine. And today we are pleased to be joined by Jeff Redmon. Jeff is Global Engineering Talent and Competency Manager at Caterpillar. And he's been with Cat for 28 years. And in his current role, he develops and manages process for engineering outreach, recruiting, career planning, knowledge management, and training and competency development that supports the efforts of 10,000 engineers around the world.
That's correct.
Okay, welcome. Thank you.
Great to be here.
Good. Glad to have you. Load leveling, a mantra of yours. Can you briefly describe it and how it plays into what you do and what role you play within the organization?
Yeah, absolutely. If you look in the big picture, my job is really to maximize the competency of Caterpillar in the product development space from an engineering standpoint. Mm-hmm. In order to do that, we really have to have a predictable talent base. We've got to create the right pipelines, the right development for people in order to know the output that's required and manage the input that we need to make that happen. Mm-hmm. So load leveling is, I consider, foundational to getting that right.
Okay. How difficult is it to achieve load leveling within CAT?
It's extremely difficult. Caterpillar over the years has divided into business units. We have become very, very good at managing our flexibility so that we can literally respond on a dime to an economic downturn. That strength can also be our weakness in the case of load leveling when it comes to employment, especially in engineering.
Okay. You mentioned in our conversation that large organizations, and yours is certainly one of them, suffers from not treating talent pipeline and hiring as a supply chain issue. Do large organizations need to reframe what supply chain management is, what it means to a company, and how it drives a company's hiring practices?
Oh, absolutely. I think that we have, and many big companies have, developed a lot of discipline in the supply chain space, and that has transformed our manufacturing operations and made us much, much more efficient, much more sustainable. What we haven't done is drawn the connection between that environment and the talent environment. The only difference is the delays are longer in the talent environment, which makes it that much more important to manage it as a supply chain and level the load.
How much of that latter problem is cultural?
Most of the latter problem is cultural. When you look at big companies like Caterpillar, as I alluded to earlier, we have learned as managers, in order to survive, to be able to turn on a dime, to turn costs down immediately and drastically when the business goes down. And we've been rewarded for that by the stock market. Therefore, that behavior has persisted. We've driven that into our managers, and a lot of our managers, to them, that's really a key to their success. It's what they get rewarded for. And what you get rewarded for is the behavior that you will see in a corporation. So in this case, when we have to move from the paradigm of responding to downturns or troughs instantly to the paradigm of drawing a line at the bottom of the demand curve, and instead of responding to troughs in that, level the load at that level and respond to the opportunities or the peaks above that. That's a complete change in the behavior. And that complete change is a significant issue when we look at the fact that we've got 700 or 800 engineering leaders that are making those decisions.
Broadly speaking, what will it take to restore or even achieve balance in the supply chain and perhaps the subgroup of material handling between supply and demand? What will, in your view, it take to get to a good situation for both, on both the supply and demand sides?
Yeah. The key is that we've got to have constant, predictable demand signals. And we cannot fix the STEM pipeline issue. This is science, technology, engineering, and math pipeline issue. We can't get the right number of people in the internship pipelines and in the schools if we do not find a way to level that load. We won't solve this upcoming problem that we have of a shortage of engineering talent as an industry if we can't level that load. So the key to that, the key to leveling that load is understanding what drives the demand signals. Demand signals in our industry and in engineering are really based on affordability. There are two things that happen in engineering. You either do engineering maintenance, which is a period cost, can be predicted, can be determined based on sales, and R&D investment, which is managed as an investment as a constant percent of sales. You add attrition to that, you really understand the whole picture that should drive your demand signals for the long term for your industry. And given the long pipelines, the fact that if we go out and hire somebody this fall, they will not be available to work for another 9 months. And then they're in a development program for 15 months after that. We have to think long term. So the idea is we can develop models, just as we do in the supply chain space, for the talent supply chain.
Jeff, thank you for your time.
Thank you.